What up, everybody? Welcome to the IAG Thursday thing. This thing that we do every Thursday, except when we don't do it every Thursday. Last week we ended up missing it. It's first time we've done it in, man, what are we, like 85 episodes or something? I missed a week. There was just no way to get it done. I apologize to all the listeners. It was not on purpose. It was the way the cookie crumbled. And there was no way to make it make any sense or force it in a way that like we weren't doing it justice. So we didn't do it, and I'm sad. But the streak is over. But we got a lot to talk about this week. I want to tell you that I'm joined by my partner in crime, Warranty, but he ain't here. And I want to tell you that I'm joined by Jordan, and he ain't here yet either. And but Randy did make a pretty sick thumbnail, so thank you, Randy. Randy's doing Randy things and got her done. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. So at least for right now, I'm flying solo. Who knows? Jordan, Warranty, either of them might show up. But we'll go from there. There's probably going to be a whole lot of ums. There's going to be a lot of open space, and it's going to piss Jordan off to no end because he's going to have to edit it all out. Is what it is. So I guess we got to start from the last time we chatted. Okay. At least chatted about Boogie. That was Road Atlanta. Road Atlanta, we were down on power. Okay, we knew we were down on power. We thought we knew why. What we didn't know is actually what was causing it. We didn't really find a smoking gun. We came back. Yeah, the DA value was quite a ways off. But we came back and looked over the entire car, and Dylan went top to bottom on this thing, and I mean like top to bottom, looking for a boost leak, a header leak, something. And I mean, he was finding stuff that just really didn't exist. Okay. We're talking like you'd have to cram 50 plus PSI through it to get something to even leak a little bit kind of things. Really went digging for this shit. Okay. After he got it all sewn up, thought it was in a good spot, found some stuff that, maybe this was a little something or whatever. Stuck it back on the dyno immediately. The car is just not making the kind of power it should. I think when we put it back on the dyno, it like made about 500. Okay. Really lazy. It just didn't make sense. Our exhaust manifold pressure was way up for the amount of power that we were making. It was goofy. We had a powwow and we're like, look, there's got to be something wrong with this turbo. Dylan pulled the downpipe, inspected the shit out of it, and at first glance couldn't really see it because the problem was actually a little further in. The inside of the blades on the turbine side were chewed up pretty bad. We're not 100% sure what caused it. Engine runs fine, so I have a hard time believing it was debris. We have EGT sensors on all four runners. EGTs weren't anything insane. So we're not totally sure what caused it. It could have been prototype turbo issues. It could have, I am going to, we'll be the first to tell you, and Garrett told us to do this. We had a turbine housing that came off of our last turbo that should have fit on this one perfectly, and it wasn't very happy. So we ended up having to machine it a little bit. And what we're thinking is maybe after it got like hot, maybe it made contact with one of the blades, snapped that off, and then caused the damage. Okay. There are a lot of different things that could have caused it. That's our going theory on it right now. But either way, it was hurt. And as bad as this sounds, it was really nice to find that, because finding a smoking gun is really what we needed. There was something wrong and we could not figure it out. When we found that, it made all the sense in the world. Here's this giant missing thing that definitely was causing the problem. Next morning, I hit up my boy at Garrett, show him what the situation was, and Garrett, being just a fantastic sponsor of ours, fired that turbo out right away. So we got a G35 1050 overnighted to us. So we were stoked about that. Things on the way. Other than that, Dylan got all the small stuff. It was Dylan and who we're referring to. His name's Ethan, but we're calling him Forklift. Dylan and Forklift kind of rearranged the trailer. Oh my God, the trailer's so much better now. Set up the trailer better than it's ever been. We had a little bit of extra time to mess with some stuff. Dylan also had some side projects he had to do, which hopefully we get to talk about here soon, with some cool stuff that we're working with Mike McGinnis on and a couple other companies, but we're testing some new and interesting product. We got some cool stuff coming down the pipeline. But Dylan was setting stuff up with that, and he had some projects he had to get done for JJ. But we were waiting on this turbo. We really couldn't do anything else. So turbo was on the way, and then the morning it was supposed to show up, which would have been Tuesday morning, it wasn't there. Okay. So we had to get it by Tuesday morning if he was to be there for Thursday morning, because he had to drive all Wednesday. Unfortunately, a tornado went through Kentucky, and anything that went through Kentucky got screwed. So it didn't make it. It got delayed by a day. They did everything they could in their power. It just, God said no. So the turbo did not show up till the next morning, which is when Dylan needed to leave IAG to get there. And unfortunately, there was still a lot to be done. So he got it, slammed the turbo on, threw it on the dyno as fast as he could. He had a couple of like small projects he had to do, but like that had to, we still had to do a sanity check and everything on the dyno. So unfortunately, he didn't get out Wednesday, so we could be there Wednesday night, so we could load in Thursday morning like we had hoped. He didn't get to leave till Thursday because of the turbo getting delayed. And, we ended up, so we got delayed a little bit. Midwest Fest this year was interesting because now we're not finishing on Saturday. We're finishing on Sunday, but they still have the track from Thursday night to Sunday. They literally gave us 2 shakedown sessions. They were not timed. Okay. But they're for you to go take your car out, make sure it's working right. And really the biggest reason they wanted to do this is to make sure the show is good. And that makes all the sense in the world. So everybody else was out there shaking their cars down, getting them ready. And let's back up a little bit. My personal mindset going into Midwest Fest, and I've said this a million times, is I desperately wanted Boogie and our team and myself to be the first ones to ever go sub 130 in street mod. We wanted to go a sub 1 minute 30-second lap time in street modified. It's never been done before, at least in competition. We had some incredibly stiff competition there who were currently getting practice. Andy Smedegard was driving Super K, which is a K-Series swapped S2000 with a big turbo and a BMW DCT in it. And then Andy himself is an absolutely incredible driver. So very well prepped car that almost won 1 lap of America just a couple weeks prior. So it was sorted. All right. And then you have Kyle McHugh, who's got a Supra with a whole ton of horsepower and knows what the hell he's doing. You have the current points leader in Ryan Matthews, who is getting laps in and understanding what's going on. We have Cal Fortner and his AMG GT there. We have Luca Barberis, who won street class, I think the year before and the year before that. Either way, he's definitely a street class champion, a hell of a driver in a new Supra build that it looks nasty as all hell. Very, very, very nice build. And it wasn't just us that was going to be fast there. Everybody was going to be fast. This was the most loaded street mod field maybe ever at a Midwest Fest event. It was ridiculous. And these guys are all getting practice and I'm freaking out. You know, I'm sitting in the track losing my mind. Thankfully, Jordan was there and Dolly. He went out and did a practice, and to help him and help me, I took a session in Dolly and went and beat the snot out of Dolly to A, remember how to drive Gingerman, but B, give him something to chase and give him some good data. So he knows about where he needs to be if he puts a good lap in. Which I think he found really helpful. But either way, I went out and got to get a little practice in to kind of understand where I was at in the world. But we knew, because how Midwest Fest works, the drifters and the heat were going to destroy the track. There is only going to be one really good session, okay? And it was going to be Thursday morning. That was it. Sorry, Friday morning, because Thursday was practice. Friday morning. Friday morning was going to be it. So, Dylan ended up getting there 1 a.m. or so. We all immediately went to bed. I was nervous as shit. I didn't get shit for sleep. I guarantee Dylan was wired for sound. We kicked the car off the trailer the next morning. We had a brand new, never driven on track, just around on the street a little bit, set of Vitour P1 Tempesta tires, the new 200 treadwear monsters. Like I said, 0 laps on those things. I was thinking we were going to be scrubbing tires in, but you know, I was going to go out there and see how it felt. Long story short, I was just excited to be able to take a swing at it. I was pretty convinced Andy was going to beat us to the sub 130. And I got to be real, I went out there fairly depressed and angry about the whole situation. So, because really all I wanted, I got to be real, notice at no point have I said the championship, winning the event, anything. The only thing I really cared about is turning this damn lap time. So, if anybody's seen the lap time, I'm sure somebody's going to post it in the chat. If you haven't posted in the chat, because somebody posted in the chat so you guys can see it if you haven't seen it. But the opening lap, I was very fortunate to be third on the grid. So that was behind Alan Patton's absolutely Looney Tunes track mod Corvette, and then Andy with Super K right in front of me. Being able to follow Andy on that outlap was super helpful because, yeah, I had just driven with Dolly my BRZ the day before, but Dolly is not a 600 horsepower all-wheel drive, street mod monster. It's a no aero BRZ. So, Andy kind of like, I don't want to say he ran a crazy lap. I think we ran he ran a decent lap, okay? And I followed him. He ran a pretty solid lap. And I think Andy thought Andy did actually put himself in a good position. That was the fastest time Andy would run the entire weekend. Same with us. But he pulled a little gap on me and I was pretty convinced we were done. Now at this point, I didn't have an aim in the car and I was having a hell of a time getting our current lap timer to work. On our screen right now, if the track is not already pre-programmed, which is most pro tracks, Road Atlanta, Road America, these tracks are all pre-programmed in. Gingerman is not one of those tracks, so it's not programmed in. Okay. So I'm having to try to hit the start stop button at the start finish line. And I don't realize I need to actually hit the reset button first. I'm screwing this up to no end. Okay. Um, but my brain's on fiddling with this damn lap timer. Either way, right when we go out, Alan goes off. Okay. So the Corvette goes off, kind of holds up Andy a little bit. We end up doing the lap, and Andy lays like a 30.7 something, 30.9. Okay. So, and I wasn't too far behind him. I was probably like a 31 flat. We do 2 more laps under caution, and then we go into the 4th lap. And I got to be real, my brain still was not like, let's go run a fast lap. It was, get this damn lap timer working. I have no idea what the fuck's going on out here. So I really don't leave 11 to start the lap all that great. So I'm down on speed going into 1 as I'm dicking with the lap timer. And as I'm dicking with the lap timer, I brake way early. So like that first straightaway is totally screwed up. I don't carry enough speed through 1, but it kind of sets me up really nice for 2. So I think that's kind of a wash. At that point, I'm like, okay, well, let's just drive the lap. So Andy gets out of my way at the end of 1. I'm on a burner, I guess, and don't even realize it, but I go through and just put the rest of the lap together. Honestly, most of the lap, other than my entry into that like 7, 8, 9 area, was a little goofy. But the rest of the lap put together really well. Used most of the track, used most of the grip, didn't overdrive the car. Hit my points. I was, I watched the video now. I'm pretty proud of it. Honestly, going through 9, I probably could have carried a little more speed, but it helped me set up for 10 really well. And we got our best straightaway speed in that session, leaving 10. Now, if you don't know much about Gingerman, again, I recommend you go to you can go to like at Dewey WRX, or I think IAG just also posted it up, the lap video. But we the car rocket ships down the straight. Now at this point, I don't think that I'm on the only real hot lap I'm going to get this weekend. So I'm like, let's see how much this thing will take in the brakes going into 11, which is the last corner. And I dive into them real hard a little late and end up missing 11. I end up driving around the outside of it and have to scrub way more speed so I don't fall off the track. And I go through that 10 to 12 mile an hour slower than I should. And then point the car straight and head towards start finish line. And again, start digging around with a lap timer. And I let off the gas before I even hit start finish line. And you can see it in the data I do it. It's ridiculous. So I let off the gas and go through. And then there's checker flag. And I'm like, well, that is what it is. I guess we're not getting, I at this point, I thought Andy had already got it. I'm like, there's no way that we're anywhere close. And I come back in and Dylan's like, yo, you're the fastest car out there. And I'm like, what? And he's like, dude, you just ran a 30.6. How? Like, where? And like, it kills me to no end watching this lap because I had no idea it was anywhere near as fast as what it was. Because if I would have taken it seriously, we would have went. Even if I would have just not screwed up 11, we would have got that sub 130. There's no doubt if we would have just chilled out, we would have got that sub 130. Yeah, I honestly, if we would have put the lap together correctly with the amount of grip we were getting out of those tires right there, I think a high 28 is very, very, very realistic for this car. Yeah, oh my God, I'm still mad about it. That ends up being not only the street mod overall record, but the fastest street mod time that'll be ran the whole weekend. It'll be our fastest time we run the whole weekend. The rest of the weekend, honestly, the track was trash. We were fighting with some different things. but drifters destroyed it. Heat destroyed it. We played around with some stuff. A lot of it was me overdriving the car. And then some of it was we were still working on different things as far as tires and stuff like that. Long story short, we come into it was Saturday night. We're trying to figure out what we want to do. I got to be real, the tires didn't feel great. Okay. And we didn't know if it was the tires or the track condition or what was going on. Knowing what I know now and what we know now, that we learned a very valuable lesson here. And it was, we need to not only go over data better and realize how much we had left on the table in that, but B, how we made that time. Because if I would have realized what I know now, we probably wouldn't have looked at stuff the same way. We decided the next morning we're going to try a different tire. Okay, we're going to do it for science. Spaz, my buddy in an Evo, showed up late, and he was going to be doing his last session, we thought. He was still quite a ways out of podium sprint, and he was in Group C when we were in Group A. So what we decided to do is Spaz was going to go out for that session. He was going to roll back into the pits right in front of our stuff. We were going to NASCAR pit stop his wheel tire combo off, which is basically the NTO3s like we used to run, and a set of Bridgestone RE71 RSs that have, we were thinking 8, maybe 10 heat cycles in them. We had a set of tires like that, but we had an unknown amount of heat cycles in it, and we were a little worried about them. That'll come back to bite us in a minute. Either way, we throw those on. We throw a bunch of water on the wheels and tires to get them cooled off. We set pressures and go out. I put in a decent lap. Okay. I definitely threw away some stuff. I wasn't as fast in some certain areas, but I put together a pretty solid lap. And we ended up 1/10 off of our fastest time. Okay. But we were like 3 mile an hour down on the straight. And, there was time missing in certain areas. And I truly believe I am the reason for a bunch of that time. I think we could have went faster. Okay. I don't think it was due to the tire. I think it was due to me. But again, the big contributing factor to this was we didn't miss turn 11, the very last corner, the same way I did in the record lap. And it made up an absurd amount of time. So it made these tires look really, really tempting. So the problem was Spaz managed to get himself into podium sprint. And it no longer became reasonable for us to steal his wheel tire combo. So we had our old RE71 RSs on a set of wheels and tires, and we made the dice roll of running those versus the Vetours. Hindsight being 2020, we probably would have ran the Vetours if we would have had the data to understand it, but we weren't going over data the right way. And this is on us. This is on me. This is a very me problem. Okay. So we ended up going out on the RE71 RSs, the old ones. I took a little quick street drive to make sure they functioned and they felt okay. But the second they got heat into them, the reality of it is they'd been through enough heat cycles to where these things were hockey pucks. At this point, they're really nothing but like exhibition drift tires. Okay. And it really showed. I put in the best damn lap I possibly could with the tires that we had. And I'm not sad about the way I drove in podium sprint. It's just the tires were not having it. And unfortunately, we ended up we lost by 0.2 to Kyle, who put together a hell of a lap by running the P1 Tempestas, the Vetour tires. that we had just backed off of. And I'm again, if we would have just went over the data, this is on me. We would have realized how the time was made, and we would have probably made a different decision. But in the end, we ended up in second place. We got the record. We're tied for first in the championship, but we came home with another second place trophy. That is 3 in a row, and that is 3 too many. This one stung really bad. The RV smells like shit. I know Dylan's not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. It stings. Okay. We learned a lot from this, but it's stuff that we should have been doing. What sucks is we did have time to do this stuff, but we were so excited at the fact that we weren't slaving on the car. Dylan just had the week from hell. So he was excited to, maybe try to mentally catch up a little bit. He still had plenty to do with just nut and bolt checking the car and small stuff and oil changes and, all the stuff the crew chief needs to do. Dylan's doing that by his lonesome. So he had a lot of stuff going on. I need to build myself a system of when I get out of the car, I need to immediately start unloading the GoPro. The GoPro needs to get emptied right then. And then maybe I can walk around for a few minutes and we come back and we watch the session. Cause this one I solely put on me. I screwed this one up pretty bad and I'm pretty angry about it. It's Dylan's gonna keep saying, "Oh, it ain't on you, it ain't on you." It's 100% on me. Building a system is if I can give any bit of advice to anybody who's listening to this, okay, it's data matters, okay, and you base decisions on data. Okay, you have to base decisions like this on data, and we had the data available to us, and I did not look at it until after the event. Then after the event, I went through and was looking at all sorts of different data and realized just how off we probably were in some of the calls we made. But it is what it is. Good takeaways is we have the Gingerman Street Mod overall record, which is awesome. B, the car feels incredible right now. If anything, it might be a little understeery on corner entry, or corner to mid a little bit. Second you get on the gas, the thing rotates really well. That's more like setup problems. It leaves corners so much better than it ever has now. The longer arms help a ton. We have those, Sir Omega Alpha is what his name is on our Discord, who is our Australian listener, who sent us the rain guards. The rain guards kick ass. How much was it helping us in the straightaways at Gingerman? I'm not sure. How much is it going to help us at something like Road America? I'm willing to believe quite a bit. But they're on there. They fit real well. That was sick. Graham, Boosted Performance Tuning, Graham and Kim, they brought their car out and it was working great. And he was testing new and interesting stuff with the exact same sequential we have. So he's playing with his sequential. And if he changed something he liked on his, he'd come over and mess around with it on ours. And the car felt great right out of the box, but honestly, it got better over the weekend even. Just small changes and stuff. The car feels so good. It feels absolutely incredible. It's so much fun to drive. I don't know if anybody was watching the live stream, but they were trying to Sunday morning, they were trying to follow Alan Patton. in that crazy ass vet, the fastest car on the property. Okay. And they were trying to follow him, talking about how fast this car is and yada, yada, yada. And he could not shake Boogie. We were right on his ass. So every time they'd catch a good camera angle of him, it'd be Boogie right behind him sliding into the corner. And it was so funny to watch. If you guys have got to watch it if you haven't. Sunday morning, first time attack session, Group A. Like you couldn't get a shot of Alan's car without Boogie in the frame. It was too funny. You could hear this supercharger just wailing and it'd go by and then you'd hear Boogie just right behind it. It was too funny. Oh my God. We had such a good time with, messing around with Alan. Kyle put on a little drift session in front of us and, blowing by him, Super K out there with Andy. Like it was really, really good. We had honestly the vibes of the event. This was probably my overall favorite Gridlife Midwest. I can't call it I'll call it tied for my favorite. When we won in 23, when we weren't supposed to, and the crazy that was probably, but man, we just struggled that whole weekend. The weekend itself wasn't fun. Winning was fun. This weekend actually was fun. We had a really good time this weekend. Even though we ended up coming home with second from a bad tire choice in the end. And it is what it is. We learned a lot. We're going to try some stuff. Play around with tires, play around with setup. We got some new things we want to try. And we still haven't even scratched the surface on some of the other things. Graham is having a lot of luck with this electronic wastegate from TurboSmart. We have ours ready to go on, so we can use that whenever we want. We really want to get the electronic blow-off valve working. That's been a little bit more finicky for us. We're starting to wonder if maybe our unit might not be functioning correctly. We're going to mess with that, but it's really good. I got somebody asking some questions. But other than that, it's really, really good. What did he ask? How are the new systems feeling now they had 2 events on the steering and stuff? Okay, perfect. So I'll just get this out of the way. Braking feels fantastic. Those EBC Apollo competition kit, incredible. Okay. I had no doubt in my mind, but it's the most consistent the braking has ever been in Boogie, period, by a long shot. It's as consistent as my BRZ. That's really saying something. Okay. Very consistent all the way through a session, as hard as I want to push it. They're right there. Now let's talk about power steering. And I've actually got some news on this too. So, power steering feels great. Okay. Honestly, my power steering feels like my Mini now. A little bit weighted, but not bad. And it never at any point felt like it cut out, felt weird, did anything funny. That eBay power steering pump is killing it. So, like I just said, this is an eBay power steering pump from Poland, which is supposed to be like a rebuilt Porsche Cup car pump. Is it a rebuilt Porsche Cup car pump? I have no idea. I don't know. Okay. What I do know is it works. So I hit the guy up and I'm like, hey, if I needed another one of these pumps, I don't know where I'd get it. I would really like a spare. And I just flat out told him I bought the first one, because somebody recommended it. And I want to recommend this to people. But I want to have a spare just in case, because it's a very mission critical part for us. And he's like, you know what? We're going to do one better. Not only is he sending me a spare, which is super sick, but he gave me a discount code to give everybody. And I'm going to share the link, and you guys can hit me up if you want this power steering pump. PM me, email me, whatever. But I got it off of eBay but the discount code, it ends up like being $180 USD shipped for this electric power steering pump. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how long it's going to last. Okay. What I can tell you is right now, it's awesome. And that's why I'm going to have a second one. And if you order this up, if it's a very mission critical thing for you, order 2. I don't get anything from it. IAG gets nothing from it. But I can tell you it works really, really well. Really well. And I'd recommend it. I absolutely recommend it. I don't know how he's getting these pumps, where he's getting these pumps. It looked basically new when we got it. But it works. It works really well. And if anybody seriously wants to try one of these electric power steering pumps, I am going to let you know you might need a bigger alternator to make it run. I don't know. Dylan would know more about that. We've got a beefy alternator because we knew we were going electric power steering and we knew we were going electric wastegate. So we put a beefier alternator in. But it works, and it works a whole lot better than that Volvo unit that we got. So there you go. I can't believe how well it worked. So again, I don't get anything from that, but he's like, if anybody else wants them, you put a post up and whatever, which I will. I'm going to put a post up with a link. It's been working absolutely phenomenal for us. So I really can't complain. Dylan said at first he thought it was a little goofy to wire. But I'm not 100% sure why we have to turn on 2 switches, but I have to turn on 2 switches to get it to work. But that is the only weird thing about it. I'm sure if you're really good with your PDM or your button setup and whatever, you might be able to make something work with 1 switch. I don't know, but it works. And that's all I can say. It's all you can ask for is just to have it work. And she's working good. But yeah, other than that, car is really working good. But Mid-Ohio is coming soon, and that's about to turn into the Boogie Revenge Tour, because this second place shit is not going to stand. It's about to get big real. Okay. Serpent Wolfen is asking, is this an electric pump on the hydraulic system or a servo motor? It is an electric pump that would power a hydraulic system. It is not a servo motor. It's not like a BRZ. It's not something that sits on your column. It replaces your power steering pump. You still have power steering fluid. We put the pump in the trunk and it still works great. Okay. In theory, if we moved it closer, it would work better. But this pump is so no joke that I don't think it cares. Like Dylan said, the pump does 80 amps. So it's no shit. Okay. You better have your shit together when you run this. I don't know how well that's going to work on an OEM alternator. I'm going to guess probably not great. Okay. Dylan says it's only a 7 to 12 PSI loss from being in the trunk. And that's not enough to really affect us in our situation. And may have been a reason why the Volvo pump didn't work for us. But this has been incredibly consistent. So, yeah, next year, we hope to break that sub 130. But this year, Mid-Ohio, they did make some changes to the track. China Beach is a little different. It doesn't have as much camber, and it's a little slower speed. But from the looks of it, like the GT4 guys and the Miata guys, we're talking like maybe a couple of tenths difference in time. So it's not much different. I don't think it's going to affect us much at all. And I think we still we're hopefully just going to go out there and smash that record. Mid-Ohio also runs like a standard time attack, not a podium sprint weekend. So if we could, in theory, kick the thing off the trailer, run an incredible time, and do what we refer to as slap a lap and take a nap. If that happens, great. With the psychopaths that show up at Mid-Ohio, the chances of that happening are extraordinarily low. But we're going to see. We are going to see. Yeah, I know Dylan and I are stoked about it, though. We're going to do some shit. We're pretty pumped up about it. The car is nutty. Everybody keeps asking how much power we running in that lap for the record lap. Cannot stress this enough, and I have posted the dyno up in a few different places. We were only making 606, and that's extra 6 of it was like a little bump. So it was about 600 wheel. Obviously, we have more we could go, but it's not like we did that on some like 800 wheel. There's the dyno. If anybody wants to check in the chat, dyno's right there. Okay. We were not making, it was not on kill by any amount. Oh, check it out. We've got a celebrity in the chat, Dom himself. The cylinder 4 cooling mod guy, as most of the new people know him as. We know him as Get a Dom Tune in the chat. Holding it down. But yeah, like Randy just said, 600 is nuts. 600 in a GC8 on 255s, 200 treadwear street tires with almost no aero is a very, 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 very crazy car to drive. It's batshit. So if you've never done it, it'll change your life real quick. It'll really, really F you up. As Dom just asked, those rear end changes paying dividends. Dom, night and day, to the point where we actually think it may have, because we got rid of some anti-squat when we did it, the rear end might be a hair too soft, which is probably causing a little bit of our, mid-corner understeer, which is okay. I'd rather it be too soft than bouncing, but it does not bounce at all. I can go full into the throttle, losing my shit, and it doesn't care. As far as Springer damping, we're going to try damping first. And it's really easy for us to get another spring. But we're going to try dampening first and see if we can cure it with that. Because it's not like terminal death understeer. It's like small setup change stuff. It's not that big of a deal. And it's easily driven around, especially if I trail brake correctly. And I don't want to make the car super sketchy. Yeah, a little understeer is safe. Might not be the fastest thing, but it is safe, and it does allow me to get on the gas real early if I use it right. One of the things I'd like to try, maybe even before Mid-Ohio, is trying to spread the brake and gas pedal apart a little bit, so then I can start messing around with left foot braking. On one session over the weekend, I toyed around with it, and while I didn't run super fast, the potential of what I can do using my left foot to brake is ridiculous. That could be very, very game changing for us. So excited to try that too. Yeah, we live in like a new world with Boogie. It's crazy. I was actually telling Dom the other day, we were chatting, and I'm like, we're getting to the point where we're running out of people to ask, and get advice from. This car is now starting to wander into not, hey, bro, how did this part work out for you? And more into like, in theory, how do you think this will work out? Like, we're talking in theory now. So it's really cool having not only the OGs here at IAG we can bounce stuff off of, but guys like Dom, Graham, Micah, who's with 3MI, we've got some really, really cool people. Even Mike Kojima. Mike Kojima is one of the biggest reasons we ended up fixing the rear end of this car. If you look at something for long enough, if it's been that way forever, you really don't see problems the way you probably should. Mike Kojima took one look at it and went, yo, I ain't right. And it clued us into all sorts of crap. And, sometimes you just need a fresh set of eyes. You know what I mean? Yeah, what Dylan said, just need to, I think he's right. I think if we just throw a decent amount of compression and rebound at it. Just go up like probably like 25%, you know, make a fairly significant throw at it. I think the car we're running fairly low settings on our shocks right now. We throw about a 25% click increase on compression and rebound. She's going to come around pretty quick. Like Dom said, pioneers, he ain't wrong. Like, we're out here in kind of the Wild West learning stuff. And hopefully whatever we learn, we can trickle down, you know? We're trying to do something that nobody's done. You know what I mean? No Subaru has ever went as fast as we went around Gingerman that I know of. You know, we're in no man's land. It's super crazy. We're lucky that Graham has a setup that's fairly similar to ours and he's messing with stuff. And like I said, we're lucky that we've got some really badass people we can chat with and bounce bad ideas off of and come up with crazy setup concepts and, you know, things we want to try with differentials and all sorts of, you know, it's, again, we're talking in theory. A lot of theory at this point, you know. But we got friends in high places, so it's pretty awesome. Like Dom said, like when I released the 2.3, so Dom was like the original person selling the 2.3D stroker way back in the day. In fact, we got one of his early ones way back in the day when I was still working at Six Star. That was when Six Star first started. Like right when Six Star first started. Dom was one of the originals that was selling the 2.3. You know, IAG never claimed to be the first ones to do a 2.3. It was just something that we kind of decided needed to be on our shelf. And it would work really well in Boogie. But when I was working at Six Star way back in the day, we got one of Dom's earlier 2.3s, and that thing was a monster. And yeah, people fought the living shit out of that. But now, and he ain't wrong. We sell the shit out of them now. We sell de-strokers like crazy. We sell a bunch of them, and they're killer. I wouldn't trade that engine for anything. It is by far my favorite configuration of an EJ. By far. One of these days, I think it'd be really fun to try getting one of those, what was it, a 1.5 United Arab Emirates, like 1. EJ15 crank. And like throwing an even longer rod with an even shorter stroke in. It's probably going to de-stroke it down to like a 2 liter. And just trying to rev the nuts off of it. I'd like to see some like 11,000 RPM shit. I think that's probably what those cats down in Australia, Got It Rex did. They had a red like base model LWRX looking thing. Base model-y looking GC that they did that. That thing ripped. EJ15 and 16 have the 65.8 millimeter stroke. So you'd have to find an EJ15 or 16 crank, make a custom rod to make that space up, and then rev the nuts off of it. I have no idea what it'd do. It'd be a fun science project, though. Tell me you guys wouldn't like to see that. Like 11,000 RPM boogie. That would be so crazy. I wonder if I think we would start running into serious issues with like water pump. We got a dry sump, so we'd be okay with that. But I at that point, you'd really want to ask yourself, do you really even want to screw with ABCS? I think if you start hanging out in extreme high RPMs like that, that could be a problem. Holy shit. I think Jordan's here.
I am.
Yep, there he is. You have a day or what, bud?
Dude, today was a rough day at work.
Well, let's talk about your not so rough day at the track, or kind of your rough weekend, because it was kind of damn hilarious.
It wasn't rough, but it was just a fuck up on my end.
Well, let's talk about it. Come on, it'll be a good time. Oh man, he found the crank. It's in the chat. How much is one of these things? It can't even be that expensive. How much is that? What, somebody translate that to USD for me so I don't have to math. It's a used either way. Either way, so you drove Dolly, which is like my
Yep.
trainer BRZ. It's just an NA FA20 BRZ with a bunch of suspension work done to it. You drove that this weekend at Gingerman.
Yep.
Let's go through your weekend real quick. So you got there Thursday, did some laps,
Yep.
right?
Got there Thursday. We got there. Well, I got there Wednesday night, and then Thursday we actually took Dolly out for the practice sessions. I went out for the first session. Um, and I forgot to do pedal dance on it, so the traction control was still fully on and fighting the car the entire time around every corner, even turn four, the shallowest corner on the track was the traction control would kick on and just completely bog the car out.
Yeah. You learn to
Um,
do the pedal dance, folks. If you've got a first gen
yeah, pedal
BRZ,
dance.
learn to do the damn pedal dance.
Yeah, definitely need the pedal dance. It completely kicks off the traction control. The buttons in the car don't turn it off fully. Um, So, and then the second practice session, I actually threw you in the car to because you knew the car better than I do. Because I'm just getting used to how the car currently feels. I didn't know what was changed, what needed to be changed. So I threw Dewey in the car and said, "Hey, go turn some laps. Here's my lap timer. I want to compare data and whatsoever." So
We'll
Dewey comes
reveal
back in.
times. We'll reveal times after. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I will. Yeah, we'll reveal times. There's a lot of time that I can make up for
Well,
sure. But anyways,
let's talk about
um,
it.
he brings the car back in and goes, "Hey, I think the dampeners on the coilovers need to be stiffened because it's really loose." I'm like, "All right," because I was like, "All right," I thought the same thing. I'm
So
like the back, and he was like, "The
if you
back
understand what
right
I was
was."
feeling, it felt like it was driving a lot on its rear wheels. It felt like it overload the outside rear wheel, and
Yeah,
then you would start sliding. It felt like there was more body motion than there should be. Now I softened them way up for doing stuff like tail to dragon, ripping around on the street, and it was okay.
right.
But Gingerman, there's a lot of fairly high speed sweepers. Okay. So
Very high speed sweepers. Yeah,
so you're loading it up in ways that you just would never do on the street, and it was not having it. But it was a ton of fun to drive. I'm not gonna lie. You just have to
oh
be like
yeah,
prepared for it to step out a little bit, and if you can catch it before it happens, you can go pretty damn fast that way. So either way, I was like, I think this car would not only be easier to drive, but if we just stiffen everything up. So it's got a set of 510s, so it's only one knob.
yep.
Yep.
Yeah, no, so we stiffened it up and it immediately the car started hooking better. It immediately started I could throw it into a corner a lot better. It just took it. It just hooked immediately and didn't have to fight the car anymore going into a corner. Um whatsoever. Uh Friday went really smooth for the most part. My laps were still extremely slow. Getting used to the car, and I keep trying to drive it as if it's an all-wheel drive car because that's where I came from is from an STI to this year. And I've been slowing way down in the corners and then getting on the throttle fast enough to really maximize the cornering speed and digging out of it.
Yep.
Uh, so I need to work on that for sure, and that's definitely where all my time is
It's a
at.
trust
It's
thing.
everything else. What
Like,
was that?
it's a trust thing. You know what I mean?
It is. It definitely
Yeah.
is. Oh, that was another thing. Brakes were putting those 21 SR21 pads on it. Changer. I don't think I'll ever use a different pad ever. That thing. Those pads are beautiful.
Look, man, I've people have been calling me an EBC shill for like 2 years now because of this. Okay. And
They
because for years
they
before,
feel so good.
you did not run EBC pads on your track car. You just didn't do it. Okay. And I
Right.
gotta be real, like they were kind of a laughing stock. They weren't great. If you have not tried SR21s yet, you are fucking up. If you have a car, especially if you have boosted brakes, okay? If you have ABS, any most modern setups, you should try SR21s. Okay, they have the same amount of bite as like a DTC 60 or something like that, but you have a lot more modulation before it happens, and they do not give a shit about heat. And the other nice thing is, since they're centered and how they're made, you really don't even need to bed them. They just work. You throw them in,
No,
you
they
go out
do.
to the track. It's ridiculous how good they are. But okay, done shilling freebies.
Yeah,
See, I love that company. I
right.
love that brake.
Yeah, it's
That pad
fucking
is so
that
good.
brake pad's fucking beautiful. So after throwing those on, I've been trusting the brakes a lot more. But you're right, coming in the cornering, getting on the throttle is just trusting that the car a little bit more, and I know I can throw it harder than I was at Gingerman.
Yeah.
But I was just getting used to it, like getting the feel for it. I went down. I was really fucking slow, like extremely slow. When I first got there on Thursday, I was doing like low 50s. And by the end of the weekend, I was mid to high 49s on the optimal, or yeah, mid 40s to high 40s with my optimal speed timer, or the optimal lap. Um, because I didn't after that I didn't get a clean lap. There was a lot of offs, not just I mean everyone. It was the track was terrible midday,
Yeah.
but Friday from there. Friday was good for the most part. No real issues. Just getting used to the car again. But Saturday morning,
Yeah. Now we need to talk about this because this shit is funny.
yeah, Saturday morning. Okay, fucking. I'm coming around. I'm coming around 9, and I'm not going any faster than I normally would. I just set up the corner wrong, and then a deer runs across the track.
Okay.
Uh, and it threw me off. No, there actually was a deer, but the deer wasn't near me. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
I set the corner up wrong.
Yeah.
What
Hey,
was that?
I'll let you slide with the deer.
Yeah, there actually was like so. Yeah, I'll get to it here in a second. I set up the corner wrong, and I'm like in my head mentally, I'm like, oh, I need to do this to get a better exit. Well, I jerked the wheel too hard, and going around that corner 90 miles an hour, it put it into an immediate spiral, a non-recoverable spiral out of 9.
Spun at 9, and you went off into the sand pit by 10.
Yeah, I went flying, like flying through the grass, and I ended up managing to bury the car in the sand pit of 10, right in the corner. I it was probably like 200 something feet from where I actually initially spun off the track. Yeah, I went flying and buried it. Um, and as I was sitting there waiting, I was mad at myself because I screwed up the whole morning session. It took like 15, maybe 20 minutes to unbury me. Um, it was bad. I was so mad. Um, but as the crew came, the recovery crew came out to come get me, I hear over their radios that there was a deer or a baby doe, running across the track, and it just so happened to be right in that general area where I initially fell off the track.
So you can use that as you were just trying to save the deer, really.
I was trying to avoid the deer. It was not me. It couldn't have been me. It was the deer. No, it was definitely me. I pinned the wheel too hard.
100% was you. So either way, you
Yeah,
backed this
100%
bitch
was me.
into a giant sand pit. I'm assuming they yanked you out of the sand pit and you drove in, right?
Yep. So they got me out of the pit. I drove in. They had me drive in the grass all the way around 10. That way I didn't, get sand all over the track. So I stayed on the grass as much as I possibly could. And then when I got on track, I just stayed off the main line.
I want to
Uh,
make sure everybody knows what you're hearing right now is a safety crew that gives a shit about what happens on track. This is one thing I will always say about the Gingerman safety crew. They are by far my favorite safety crew in the country. Those guys have their shit together. They care about the
they
track
do.
being good. They think about things like maybe we shouldn't drag sand right into the grip surface. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
think about these things and it matters to them. So it just hands down, those guys are top level. Love them to pieces.
Yeah, and they usually even after the track goes cold, they come and hang out. They actually talk to people too.
Oh yeah,
Like,
they're
yeah,
not
they're
stuck up at all. They're
they're cool
hanging out with
people.
everybody. Great,
Yeah,
great people. In fact, they've been in here a few times.
they
Um,
have safety mics in here usually.
yeah,
So
we need to do an episode with those guys. I would like
yeah,
to have an episode of talking to them about things they want to see on a car. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
we definitely need to do that. I think we've been talking about that for a while now.
either way, you come
But
in and I see
yeah,
you come into the pits and dude, it was, oh my God, it was so funny. You were so worried about it. And I'm just like, get, if you're going to send it
it was
anywhere, send it at Gingerman.
I wasn't even mad that like I had to like clean the car or the car was fucked up. I wasn't even mad about that. I was mad that I fucked up the session. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts. We got like good, like we got like 3, 4 laps, maybe 3 laps, and then it took 20 minutes to unbury me. They put the pace car out for that entire set. That entire
You're a giant dickbag and you should apologize to everybody right now.
right. I am sorry. I was so mad at myself that I like not even that I put it in the sand, but that fucked up the session. Like I don't know if you saw, I was so pissed. I literally took my helmet off, just threw it, just fucking threw my helmet, slammed the car, and just hid in the trailer for like 5 minutes before I like got the car jacked up
I
and started
know
cleaning
like you didn't want to talk at all. So after you came back out and you started taking panels off and shit, the amount
it.
of sand that was under this car was unreal. You guys built a sandcastle out of it.
we me and Rich Fortner built sandcastles with it.
I mean,
Yes.
a ton of sand. I could not believe how much sand was under this car.
Dude, there was so much sand. Literally, so I get the wheels off. I'm just pounding the sand off. I get the under panels off, and there's we build a sandcastle with what's in the skid plate. Like that was attached to the skid plate. That's what we did. And then when I started cleaning the car more, there was that much more or even more buried in every nook and cranny in the car. Like still in the car by the time we took those skid plates off. It took 2 hours
Yep.
to get 90% of the sand out of it.
Yep.
2 hours. It was terrible.
Well, now you
Do not
learn.
recommend.
Now you learn.
Yeah.
Now you know. Don't shoot your shit off the track.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It probably will happen again.
It's gonna.
It's just the nature of the beast when you're pushing boundaries. So,
Yeah. Can you
uh,
not wad it up? So what did
I
you end
that's
up
what
at the
track
end of the
insurance.
weekend?
What was that?
What was your time by the end of the weekend? What did you end up running?
So my last session on Sunday. Well, the fastest official time on the books was a 49 something, 49.8, I think.
Okay.
Pretty slow. But on Sunday morning, I laid a 50 down, but that 50 would have been a 47 if it wasn't for another car going or breaking down and flagging the entire session. It would have been a 47.
Okay. So
So
what did I run?
you ran a 45 in that car.
I just hopped in and beat the fuck out of it. And
Yeah, you did.
I love that car handles it does exactly what I want it to do. I have a relationship with that vehicle that I don't know if I've ever had with another vehicle in the way it handles. I trust that car in a way that I just cannot trust anything else. I love it so much. Um,
And, and you have way more driving experience than I do, and that's why I wanted you to, in literally the exact same car. I
yeah,
wanted to throw you in it and compare our data. Like the lines that we were running were nearly identical. The problem was me committing to braking and committing to throttle coming out. That was the two big differences.
it's all min speed, and that's what you're gonna have
Yeah,
with a car like that. It's trying to maintain mid speed. But
yeah,
what driving that car really well has done for me in Boogie has drastically helped my min speed in Boogie. And
right.
you see that in my driving in that record lap, that I'm thinking about min speed in corners like 5 and 2. Um these corners where min speed's a really big deal. 6 is another big one. Where there's huge amounts of time there. That's Dolly is a big reason that I can drive Boogie decent now. That car has taught me so much. I can't stress it enough. If you're trying to figure out what car you want to get on track with to become a better driver, just go get an FA20 BRZ. Don't give it shit for power. Do suspension and tires and just learn to drive. Learn to drive without power before you give yourself power. Learn to drive a slow car fast, and it'll make you really fast in a fast car.
Right.
So,
I mean, anyone can be fast in a fast car.
yeah, it's really hard to learn to go fast in a fast car if you've never really went fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like William said, drive Honda Fits. Honda Fits are a good option. Don't get me wrong. You'll learn a lot about car control in a BRZ though. It's really good. Really good. I'm not saying you won't learn a lot from a Honda Fit, but a BRZ is stupid good. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good track car. It really is.
Yep.
The good all arounder.
So you got a chance to drive the RT660 Plus. That's
Yes.
what I was out there on. That tire's pretty good, man. It definitely is a step up from the old RT660. I wasn't sad about it.
It feels good.
Feels real good. Real good. It honestly it feels like it's maybe just a hair under an RE71 RS. It's got the same kind of vibe. I don't think it's got as much peak grip, but you can run a full session on them and they don't care.
Yeah, you can run a full session. They don't care. I was gonna say, like you said, they're not quite as grippy as the 71s. Like you can feel, like you can tell the difference in grip level between the two, but they're way better than the 660s. Like at least the first initial heat cycle,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's what people are also saying is there's a magic sticker session in those things. So their very first heat cycle is completely out of control. So,
Right. Yeah.
um,
And I actually never even had to. I actually bought a U set from Bailey, and they're still really good. They still felt really good.
yeah, so that already had a heat cycle in it, didn't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
So something else that happened this week, and then I'm super psyched about. Subimods released our shirt. There is a really sick Team Boogeyman shirt that you can buy off of Subimods right now. You had to physically be there to get it if you wanted it this weekend, but you could buy it straight off their website now. It is sick. If you ever want it, if you want to support the cause and get a badass t-shirt, this is the way to do it. Buy the damn shirt. Buy the shirt. It is a really, really nice damn shirt too. Yep. Hella stupid happy about that shirt. So happy about how that shirt turned out.
Dude, the shirt is sick.
The shirt is sick. Okay. It makes us look way cooler than we are. It's super sick. Yeah. So I think that's kind of Gridlife Midwest. You know what I want to bring on now for at least a couple of minutes? I think we're going to bring Mary on because Mary went to Wicked Big Meat for her first time ever. We weren't at Wicked Big Meat.
Wow, no.
So I think we chat with Mary about Wicked Big Meat. Let's see if we can get her on.
Say she was in the crowd.
She's in the crowd. She just doesn't realize that there's a hand up that she's got to hit accept and all that to get pulled onto stage. She's working on it. Give her a sec. She's new with these things. Maybe she's running somewhere that it's not like crazy loud. I'm interested to hear Mary's take on Wicked Big Meat. I mean, this could be a next week thing too, Mary. I'm not worried about it if you don't want to do it this week. No, Mary is not saying anything yet. Unless Brad can't hear anything. I don't know. Brad. Oh, there she is. You're muted, Mary. You're muted, Mary. Do I need to unmute you? Nope. There she is. All right. Mary, what's
Turns
up?
out I'm old.
You went to Wicked Big Meat for the first time. So like,
No, it's actually my second time.
okay, oh, really? Okay, when was the last time you went?
Well, so I went in 2017 to scope it out to
Cool.
kind of see like, was this something Texas could do? And 2017, no, Texas was not ready for that. You guys in the Northeast know how to Subaru a whole lot better than we do in Texas.
Yo, I can't claim to be from the Northeast. I am a Midwest and now like Mid-South
Yeah,
guy. But yeah, they go pretty hard with their damn Subarus in the Northeast for sure. So I want to hear, first off, I think you went to the Subi Mods pre-meet. Did you end up making it there or not?
I did. It was fun. I took my cat umbrellas and hung out in the rain all day.
Was it a good time? I heard it was pouring.
It was a great time. Most people didn't care that it was raining.
Hmm.
Um, it's just nonstop Subarus all day, coming and going, and they had their raffle, and that was really cool. It was just really neat. You got to meet with the vendors, but I didn't get to really talk with them much because like Bucky's car was there, so we kind of got stuck in front of that. That was
Yeah.
really cool. And I don't know, it's really neat to get to talk to everybody. Got to hang out with the Cobb guys, and it was kind of neat.
Let's talk about the event itself. For anybody who hasn't been to Wicked Big Meat, if you think you've been to a large Subaru meet, you haven't. If you have not been to this, it is nuts.
And that is really the truth. So when I went to Wicked Big Meat this year, I went with just one goal in mind. What does everybody else Subaru that Texas doesn't? Like, what do you guys, how do you get such, not just you, Midwest, but the Northeast and Florida, California? I mean, pretty much everybody but Texas, I feel like you guys come out like in mass forces. And I wanted to know why. What is so different in every other community that Texas is lacking? So I actually did something a little bit different this year, and I spent about 5 hours straight in the car show area talking, just meeting strangers, asking them about their cars, the community, like, are they DIY? What do? They have pizza meets, they go bowling, they're really big about community up there, and that's really
Yeah,
what I learned.
that's actually you see that a lot in the northern states, and I don't get it because like I'm in Tennessee right now and I can't get anybody to even do any form of a car meet, not just a Subaru meet. Like there's really not a I feel like up north, maybe because you're trapped inside for so many months that like when you can go do a meet, you do whatever you can to do it. So you interact with other people. I just feel like they approach stuff a little different, you know?
Yeah, and I guess you're right, it's either the weather's a lot nicer up there, kind of, I mean, if a little bit of rain doesn't bother everybody. In Texas, I mean, it's already almost 100 degrees, so you're
Yeah.
already dying. Um,
But then you got
so
the
it'd be cool.
winter. That's what I'm trying to get at. You get the winter. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, Subarus in the winter are fun, but nobody wants to go to a car meet when they're getting snowed on and it's 10 below.
True.
definitely not.
Yeah.
So up here in Ohio, every other weekend, the moment starts to get nice out, it's every weekend or even every other day. There is some type of car meet here in Ohio, always, every weekend.
Man, I'm jealous. I definitely have my work cut out for me. I
Hmm.
plan to step my game up with community this year. That's definitely what the other areas are teaching me is that Texas has got to come back out. I think we used to kind of do it, but not nearly like, I mean, New England, of course, is the largest or the
Yeah.
longest, oldest chapter. So, I'm a
But
noob compared to that, but it was still so neat to see all the different builds. And it wasn't just about the different builds, it was just about how like everybody could take just whatever it is they had and just put their own personal spin on it. And I'm not going to lie, I loved the displays. There were like little Marios, there were little stormtroopers, there were like, stuffed animals everywhere. It was so much. I loved it so much.
that's cool. Yeah, I always love how we all kind of start with the same base, but we can build we're doing a lot of the same things, but we're doing it in a different direction, I guess is a good way of putting it. And you get so many people will look at this blank canvas and come out with something different. And yeah, it's a Subaru and we share a lot of the same pieces. and the community all ties together, but everybody's kind of got their own spin on it. And it's really cool, especially when you go to something as large as Wicked Big Meat, because you see so many different variations of it. It's so much fun to check out.
It really was, and the show was really cool, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably not the best person to review the show because I had so much fun just talking to the Subaru owners. I mean, in the car show, I spend all my time in the car show, so, like, the actual Wicked Big Meat show, like, I could hear it, I could kinda get a glimpse of it. The
Sure.
vendors were so busy, everybody brought out so much merchandise to buy, and that's just not something we see in Texas, so I think that was really cool. Um, I went kind of in vendor role and got some videos and stuff like that, but everybody was really busy talking, and I didn't even make it all the way over to see everybody like I wanted to. So now I want to go back to another show just to experience it.
So in the Midwest, when we had our first Subi Fest style thing in the Midwest, we didn't do it like that either. It was everybody showed up and had a meet. People didn't go there with the intention of purchasing things. That is something the Northeast is, it's just different. Like the people, customers and vendors are showing up with the intention of, throwing it's like a Black Friday situation going on there just in real life. And instead of doing it online. And
I talked to a lot of vendors and they had record sales this year,
yeah,
so that's really
insane.
positive for the community.
I'm pretty sure we did too. Like we absolutely slayed it. And then that's very positive for the community, but it's crazy that the community itself is the ones who's purchasing this stuff and they're showing up. They show up prepared to buy at these things. You know what I mean? So what I can tell you is if you are ever looking to get some sort of deal, whether it's from us or some other, super oriented manufacturer kind of thing, those Subi events things are a good way to snag some deals. If you come ready to go, ready to swipe your card or with cash or whatever, especially if you come with cash, they will party with you. They will definitely party with you. It's really crazy. And that it took us years to kind of understand how that can function in the Midwest. But in the Midwest, it took a few years, but they started getting that way too and selling a lot of stuff. Nothing like Wicked Big Meat, but it was I that was probably the most jarring thing to me is how much product is getting sold. That was crazy to me.
It was Billet Works actually said they brought their laser engraver on site because they were moving so much product. I
That's
thought that was
wild.
really neat. I didn't get
That's
to
pretty
see it,
cool.
but I got to meet the Austin, so that was really cool.
That's sick. I'm happy. Did you get to meet anybody that you haven't met before in person? That was always a fun one for me at these. That like I've talked to him
Um,
online, but this is the first time you got to see him in person.
well, Austin, the founder of Billet Works, so I got to meet him,
Cool.
and I got to meet Tom with Cartboy.
Yep.
Um, And I think everybody else I kind of already know because I've just kind of been in the industry and I just really like everybody.
Yep.
But I'm definitely that person. I'm standing in the middle of a conversation and hi, I'm Mary. I'm from Texas, and and so that was kind of fun to just randomly meet people. But I think those are only two people that I think I didn't know before. Um, but it was good. I got to hang out with Robert Champion a little bit that runs the
Yep.
CB events, one of the guys. So that was a lot of fun. We kind of talked about his cars.
Yep.
And yeah, but then obviously the drivers were there doing signatures. There could be somebody so much more cooler to give you that aspect of Wicked Big Meat.
Oh, sure.
Because
And,
yeah,
and,
because like I said, we wanted to know about the community, and we spend a lot of time talking to people like, what are they doing during the year? Where are they? Are they doing the work themselves? Are they in the garage? Like, why
yeah,
did they choose this? Like, what do
that's
you do
why.
with the car?
But you got to understand Subi events. The people who run Wicked Big Meat. They're the one they already promote the drivers and stuff like that, okay? Like Travis Pastrana is going to be at this thing. There's going to be all these particular vendors. That's why I wanted to talk to you because I had the vibe this is what you were going up there to do was talk community. And that's why I
Yes.
was really excited to see what you took away from that. And it sounds like, maybe in a little way you're it's almost daunting that like this community kind of like there's so many people in one area and like they really kind of have their shit organized and maybe you feel like you got some work to do. But what I'm happy that you've seen was these people do exist. You know, there's kind of a framework for how to do it. Will it ever be as big as the Northeast in Texas? No.
No.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be. But if everybody's got that same kind of, you know, community vibe to it, that's what really matters.
Yeah, what was fun is like, and I know I already said this to you, like my energy in Texas is always kind of like, girl, you're a lot. Like, you need to calm down. But like up there, they were everywhere. And I
Oh yeah.
loved it. I was not the majority or the minority. I was definitely the
No.
majority.
No, especially in that group, I guarantee you fit in so well. Like
Definitely.
that is definitely a vibe. So did you go up there by yourself or was it you who
At
went
the
with you?
last minute, Heath decided to go with me because
Oh,
I was planning my trip and I started looking at all the parks, more big outdoors people, and
sure.
well, the birds. And so he was like, "Hey, if you change your flights, I got these tunes, but if you can try to change your flights, I'll go with you," which was so cool because he got to hang out with Tim Bailey from Cobb for a while, and they got to kind of like nerd out on all kinds of things, cars, tuning, but also animals because they're just both really into animals. So that was a lot of fun. And so we were able to kind of find parks. Pretty much every day we were there, find something outdoors to do. And so he enjoyed that. And then, we went over to Subi Mods on Monday, actually. I think we originally were going to meet with Nick, but, obviously what happened at Gridlife. So we got to meet with Ryan and
Yeah,
he got to show us around Subi Mods and kind of tell us about what they're doing. And they listen. I went to go buy one of your shirts because I know for a fact that you tagged Wicked Big Me
I
as
did.
being a place I could buy one
They
of your
said
shirts.
they were going to be there. Were they not there?
Uh-huh. They were not there. I think somebody said Dewey spoke for himself.
Oh, I don't want to hear that because I had a whole conversation with Nick about it. That sucks. They would have sold them too because we were shredding through them at Gridlife.
Well, it sounds like you needed it all there, so
Well,
you need more.
hey, yo, they're on sale on their site now. I'm just throwing it out there.
I will make sure to order one today then.
That's what I like to hear. Either way,
Yeah.
I'm happy you had a really good time. I could tell you having a conversation with Nick at Subi Mods, he probably could have had a better time at Gridlife.
No, I guess we'll just have to go back. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, we will see Nick at Gridlife. We can come see you next month.
Yes, when you come out for Summer Apex, which is at Road America, we'll be there. Nick will be there. It's going to be a really good time.
I've never been to that area of the country either, so I guess I got to start
You
looking up those
couldn't
national
pick
parks.
a better time to go. Yeah, I tell you what, Road America should be a national park all in itself. It's incredible. So I'm really stoked for you guys to be a part of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I personally, I think we should stick a camera in your face and we should have you go ambush a bunch of Subaru owners. It should be a really good time.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I think we should. I think we should do some collab social media stuff.
Ambushing people, especially Subaru owners.
Let's do
God.
it. Let's figure out a good way to do it.
Yeah. Or a bad way, but either way, it'll be fun.
All right. I'm stoked you had a good time though. I think it's a podcast.
I did. I want to go back to another one. Like,
yes,
because
go.
I got to talk
Go
to
to
the
a different
community.
area of the
I knew
country.
that's what it was going, but like, I don't know, Florida, Boxer Fest, or California. The only thing about Boxer Fest is it's really close to Subi Fest, Texas, and that's like a little stressful to me.
I got to be real. Boxer Fest is kind of like Wicked Big Meat Minor. Okay.
I know.
So
I
don't think you're going to get the same. Like, I think you should go to a drastically different one. Florida might be a good one. I kind of want to check that out. Have you been to the Cali one yet?
I haven't.
Go to the Cali one. Go to the Cali one.
The thing about Cali is I feel like I know a lot of people in Oregon. I'm going to call it Jeff Perrin, and I'm going to try to convince him to come down to California because I talk to him all the time, but I've never met him.
Go to the Cali one because
you're still right. Dom's close enough to
literally
California.
Dom ain't really close to California. Dom's living freaking Idaho right now. But
know.
that would be fun. We, you know, honestly, that would be a really good time if we could all meet up.
That would be so badass.
That'd be a really good
Seriously.
time. Like Subaru OG crew all get together, go do dinner. That would be fun.
It'd be so much fun.
Yep. That'd be a picture for the ages. Can you imagine what that selfie would look like? We look at that in 10 years.
I'd still look the same.
Dom's on the other side of this thing just cringing. Just, oh, I hate people. I'm
like, stop telling people that people like me.
Yeah, stop making me talk to humans.
I look good for
You do good. You look good for 47, Dom. All right. I think we're gonna call it. I think that's gonna be a show. Marion, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Then we're gonna try to go fast in a couple of weeks and hopefully start bringing home first places. And we got some pretty cool shows planned in the next few weeks, and hopefully we can put some stuff together. So yeah. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. We'll see you guys next time.